Whilst test driving a car as a potential present for myself, I crashed it.
Easy.
OK, what was the car?
Like a Tesla.
Like a Tesla?
Like it.
Was it a Tesla?
Yes.
Oh, they are like Teslas, aren't they?
What did you crash into?
What would you call it? A gantry? It wasn't like a full crash.
It was a prang.
A prang is exactly
Just a prang.
Oh, OK.
The crash happened in the shopping centre, in the car park, and I'd already completed the test drive, and I quite liked it. And the guy that was with me for the test drive got out of the car. I didn't realise he'd left the back door, the gull wing door, open.
Oh.
And so I drove and took the door off the car.
Oh. How much did you have to pay to, like, redo it?
To redoor it? Redoor! We're all happy with the term redoor, are we?
Can I just remind you, Jimmy, he's 15. You're going to look really bad if you slam him.
Christmas.
I'll wear it.
Christmas.
I'm only little.
It's only little. It's
Not for you. What was the question?
How much did you have to pay?
Well, so I took the door off the car. The guy that had been doing the test drive with me, obviously his jaw was on the floor. He was, like, a bit shocked.
That'd come off as well, had it? I think it's on a gantry.
So I wound down my window and leaned out and went, I'll take it.
What, in the condition it was in?
No, I'll have a new one, obviously. I'm not an idiot. But I thought I had a moral obligation to buy it. I'd made a mess.
So where was this in the world?
Westfield.
What do you think?
I just don't think Jimmy would ever pay for a car. And also, the idea that Jimmy bought it out of guilt. I'm not sure Jimmy has that emotion.
So, what are we going to say?
What do we think?
I think it's a lie.
Yeah, a lie.
I'll go with my team. Say
They're
it's a
going to
lie.
say it's a lie. Jimmy, was it a lie or was it actually true?
Oh, well, I can tell you it was...
A singing coach once refused to give me lessons because he said my voice was so bad there was nothing he could do for me.
Please, team.
Gosh.
How old were you, Lou?
About 25?
So quite recently, then?
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Did you sing a song to exhibit your skills?
Yeah, he had a microphone in the middle of the room and said just, you know, belt out of tune to see where I was at, sort of musically.
What was this for?
I was in a band, yeah.
What was the band?
Jeff Leppard.
Jeff Leppard.
What is that? Is that a Def Leppard tribute band?
No, just five girls having a nice time.
But it wasn't a tribute band.
We did 3 of our own Jeff Leppard songs, and we did 1 Def Leppard song as a nod.
Do you remember the titles of any of those songs?
Yeah, Rocking in the Evening with my friend called Stevening.
I didn't know that was one of yours.
How did that go?
Rocking in the evening with my friend called Stevening.
Rob,
I mean, the range is incredible.
you couldn't let the producers know that Lou's having a breakdown, could you?
Was it the band's idea to send you for singing lessons?
Yeah, so it's
and
just
how
me.
did that conversation go? Was it
You-
awkward?
No, because I knew that I was sort of limited in certain areas. I was a great front man. What do you call it? A front lady? That sounds rude.
You're a great band, but I don't like the look of your front lady.
What song did you do at the lesson?
It was the one from Mannequin. And, you know... I'll just sing it, and then you'll know it. And we can build this dream together.
There were certainly some of the notes.
I think I need to stop you there, Rob. It's true. Yeah, but she could be good at acting.
But
Perhaps she's
maybe
got the
I'm
voice of an
bluffing.
angel and she's lying.
La 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 la.
I don't know, Les.
I now think it's a la la lie.
Lie.
I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie? I'll go with my team.
OK, saying it's a lie. Lou, truth or lie?
True.
Yes, it's true.
My first taste of fame was when the local newspaper dubbed me the Cockroach King.
David's team.
What was the newspaper?
My local. It was called the South London Press.
So, are you from South London?
I was in the lead-up to the headline, The Cockroach King.
While were you in the public eye doing what?
I was a solicitor at the time, and I sued the local authority because of cockroach infestations in the council houses. Yes! That's what I did.
And of course, it was that kind of style in court that won the day.
We settled outside of court, actually. But I had to change the names because these are real legal proceedings that we're talking about.
Right. Well, why does the fact that it's real legal proceedings mean you have to change the names?
Because I don't think it's fair to say that, let's say she's called Barbara Lighthouse. Lived in the horror of cockroach infestation.
Were you representing Barbara Lighthouse?
I was, yes.
She'd engaged your services?
She's engaged my services. I visited her property.
Must have been ages to get to the top.
There were Egyptian cockroaches. So I had an idea, right? I said, I bet this is bad for your mental health, living with cockroaches. And I took them to the magistrate's court on a private criminal prosecution under the Public Health Act.
Why are you counting every letter in the same? Are you working out how much to charge her?
You mentioned the Egyptian cockroach.
The Egyptian cockroach,
How
yeah.
many? I wasn't aware there were different types.
They live in the concrete, and they can actually live off the concrete that the buildings are made of.
Eat the concrete?
Yep.
Bob, they got some hard cockroaches. They live in the concrete.
They nip out to go behind the fridge or the cooker, or to turn the light out.
What were the size of these Egyptian cockroaches?
They're long and thin, slip right in.
That's my profile on Tinder.
It is odd the Cockroach King would suggest a champion of the cockroach rather than an opponent.
Or in fact, their leader.
Yes.
Did you lead the cockroaches away like the Pied Piper?
No, I didn't. What happened was I got an expert from the University of Cambridge called Broccoli High Kicks. Again, I've changed his name. His brief from me was, can you in any way argue that this is contrary to public health? He confirmed it, went to court. It's all coming ever so clear now. We went to court, yeah. Ronnie Omlets was the housing officer.
The weird thing is you haven't changed his name, have you?
And what was she called? Barbara Lighthouse. Barbara Lighthouse brought a clear jar of the cockroaches with her and poured them over Ronnie Omlets. Right? Of course, he was very frightened, didn't know what to do, at which point Barbara Lighthouse said, I think I've made my point, you know, to the housing officer. Yeah. This is what I live with. So, the council agreed to rehouse. Next day, the Cockroach King.
Right, what's he going to say, Dave? What do you think?
It's that bizarre that only Bob could make it up, so I think that's true.
That doesn't make sense. You're saying only Bob could make it up, then he could have made it up.
No, only Bob can make it up like that.
Right.
So convincing.
Yeah. So we're in trouble, aren't we? You're saying that if anyone else had said it, it would definitely be true because they couldn't have invented it. The one person who's saying it is also coincidentally the only human who could also have invented it.
Yes.
What a terrible set of circumstances. You think it's true? Do you think it's true?
Yes, let's say it's true.
We're going to go true. OK. Now, Bob, truth or lie?
I was telling the truth.
As a child, I once secretly cashed my mum's family allowance and used the money to buy a cat.
David's team. So, how did you perpetrate this fraud?
A lot of strong allegations straight away. It's not a fraud.
Is it not a fraud?
I didn't say I was my mum.
Right.
My mum, single mother at work, so quite often couldn't get to the post office during opening hours, so my job was to get the family allowance. I'm the eldest.
Right. And how old were you?
11.
I see. So you were permitted to collect the money.
Yes,
what
yes.
you weren't then authorised to do by your mother is to spend it on a cat.
No, not explicitly.
So it's not fraud, it's theft.
So what happened then, Sarah? Talk us through it.
So I went to the post office.
Yes.
Got the family allowance.
Yes.
Quite near the post office, there was lots of different shops. A high street,
yes,
if you will. Oddly, on the way to go to the post office, I had popped into the pet shop, and there were 2 little kittens, and they were kind of all snuggled and sleepy. Oh, very sweet, very sweet. So I went to the post office, got the money, it was about £30, and then on the way back, one of the cats had been sold, and the other one was there, very lonely.
Oh. Is this the story you told your mum, or is this the truth?
Well, this is... We don't find that out till the end of the round.
I'm getting old, I keep forgetting the format.
He was meowing, he was sad, and I realised that I now was holding enough money to buy him, and so I did.
How did you tell your mum?
I told my mum that I'd gone to the post office as instructed, picked up the family allowance. But then when I had been walking home, it had been very windy, the money had flown away. When I was looking for the money in the grass, I found this kitten.
Did she fall for that?
No.
Oh. I was going to say, if she did, can we get her on that team?
So what happened? Were you allowed to keep the cat?
Well, for a very, very short amount of time, the cat was in our house, but my mum was looking for somewhere else, to give him away to a home where he would be properly cared for, and then she told me that he had blown away.
You were only 11 and she went, oh, where's the cat? He blew away.
11 is not too young to learn the bitter lesson of how miserable life is.
Can I just say this has completely ruined my card in a minute, where I will be reading out that I, in the 1990s, bought a cat off a woman in a pub for 15 quid.
What are you thinking, Nicola? Does this story strike you as true?
I think there's a lot of detail in it.
A lot of detail, yes.
Yeah. I can picture the high street, the pet shop, the post office.
Yes, you've got a wonderful imagination, though, haven't you? You're very gifted in that way, aren't you?
Well, I mean, we're talking about cats here.
Yeah, there are no cats.
No, and yet we vaguely know what we're banging on about.
You brought cats to life as vividly as Andrew Lloyd Webber did all those years ago.
I never saw the live show, I just saw the clip from the film.
I auditioned for that film and didn't get it. And you know who played the part I went up for?
Who?
Judi Dench.
How dare you! Ray Winston. Ray Winston got the part. Dan, what are you thinking?
I feel like I want to believe Sarah on this one. I feel there's an element of truth there.
Well, I think the situation is we just completely believe this. Now,
Yes.
if it's a lie, there's something diabolical that Sarah has done, because we've just totally accepted it.
All right. And can I just say, I'm enjoying the length of your shirt sleeves tonight.
Oh, they're getting longer and longer, aren't
You look like Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen. Sarah, they're saying it's true. Was it true, or were you telling a lie? Yes, it's true. Sarah really did use her mum's family allowance to buy a cat.
Yes,
okay.
I once had a fight with a flamingo and won.
Last Christmas, the biggest family row in the Lycett household was over how many doof-doofs there are in the EastEnders closing theme tune.
Oh.
Lee Mack's team.
So you mean the bit just before the music starts, I think, I mean, obviously, you know, you were in EastEnders.
Yeah, but I never actually got myself a duff-duff.
Oh, no.
I was there for 6 years, no duff-duff.
You never had a duff-duff?
I had one duff-duff and Wendy Richards was in it, and then when they took it to the edit, they zoomed in on her and cut me out of the doof-doof. How many doof-doofs did your family decide there were?
So, it was a generational gap. So
Yes.
me and my sister thought there were 8, because there are 8. My parents thought there were 7.
Give us your 8.
Doof, 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 doof.
Oh, I think you're wrong.
Excuse me, though.
No,
That can't be. That's not how many doof-doofs there are. That's how many doofs there are. If the unit is doof-doof, then there are 4.
He does have a point, you know.
David has never been invited to someone's house for Christmas.
I think you stuck too many doofs in there.
Go on, you do it.
Doof, 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 doof. Do, 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 do.
No, that's not it.
You were in the show! Did you, at the end of the night, find out exactly how many doof-doofs there were, or did you just leave it, we're right, you're wrong, without no
Yeah,
sort
basically, we didn't rewind.
So we don't
were on
actually know
something else.
right now with our 8.
Well, we do. It's 8. It is
Well,
8.
you ain't really checked it, have you?
Yeah, I have.
You have checked it.
But you didn't
because
check it
I've
at the
watched
time.
EastEnders and I know.
But I've watched EastEnders, but I don't ever count...
I don't think you have.
I think there's only 3, because I think the fast ones at the end aren't doof-doofs, they're something else.
Like a little...
I'm sort of with Joe. I think it's probably 2 to 2.5 doof-doofs, or 4 to 5 doofs.
What's a
before the
half-doof?
nature, the nature of the noise changes such that it can no longer be labelled either a doof or a half
Agree.
doof.
So, yes. Well, bearing that in mind and knowing your love for music, give us your rendition, then, of the end drum.
Now, I feel that would be... I'd be humiliated.
Would you like me to give you a lead-in, a dramatic moment?
No, thank you.
This is Elsie, who works in a laundry.
Who's Elsie? She was never in EastEnders.
She's a character that I've created.
Well, what about Dot Cotton? Can't you get her?
You look a bit like Dot Cotton.
You do a bit.
You've got... You've definitely got...
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to try it.
Oh.
I think that's Mick Jagger you're doing it.
I don't know what's happened to my laundry. It's gone somewhere.
Doof, 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 doof.
All right. What do you
Tell
think?
you what, that sounds like the washing machine's broken.
See, I think after about 5 minutes, I would have just gone to the YouTube and had a little look on there. I think he's lying.
I always like to go counterintuitive, so I'm going to say I think he's lying as well. Yeah.
OK, I'm going to have to say lie.
You're going to have to say lie. OK, Joe Lycett. Truth or lie?
It's a lie.
Prince Philip told me I was a funny-looking fellow when I was a ball boy at Wimbledon.
David's team.
What year was this?
Oh, I was about 12 or 13, about 84, maybe? Something like that, ages ago.
How did you get into being a ball boy?
How did I get into it? Well, I just psyched myself up. Throw some balls today, yeah! I love it, man.
Okay. How does the system of selecting ball boys work? And
I was in a
you
tennis
manage?
club in my sort of local village, and I used to play tennis, and there was a lottery thing, and you could go along, and 2 people from every tennis club went along.
Yeah, I thought they were from sort of schools around the Wimbledon area. That's what I thought.
Where were you at school, Jimmy?
The Wimbledon area.
Wow, he's really foxed us there.
Yeah. And you were lined up, all the ball boys and ball girls?
Yeah, it was after the women's final. Everyone's lined up, like hundreds of us.
Which final? Who had played?
It was years ago. It was the Ivan Lendl kind of era.
He's unlikely to make the women's final.
Who was Prince Philip there with?
I think it's the Duke and Duchess of Kent or something. I don't really know the royals that well.
Well, that's the thing. It's usually the Duke and Duchess of Kent that do all the Wimbledon stuff, rather than Prince Philip, who's got more important sporting events to go and be racist at. I don't believe you're a ball boy at Wimbledon, but I just don't think Prince Philip often turns up to Wimbledon.
He does. He does, actually. He told me I was a funny-looking fellow when I was there, so...
Yeah, no... Well,
that's how I know that, yeah.
That's a clincher, then.
Do you have any concept of what particular aspect of your demeanour that he found funny-looking?
I can answer this. In fact, we'll all have a go. We'll start with it. We'll go around like that.
What's funny about my massive head?
Do you think you frightened the prince with your appearance? Is that... he was actually really freaked out? Most polite thing you could say.
Do you know what? That joke works if you don't do that. Do you know what? I thought you could never look more like a ventriloquist dummy. Do that again. You cheeky monkey! You go back in the box! Hey?
Right, David, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well...
Is he telling the truth?
What do you think?
It could be true because of his face, but... I don't think you're ugly. I just think... No, I'm sorry. I just think that you've got a very unique face. No one will ever forget your...
How am I getting bullied by Jamelia? How did that happen?
So, David, what's your team deciding here?
I think it could be true.
I don't know. I don't trust you. You're a funny-looking fellow.
Yeah, you see, that's the crucial detail.
Yeah. I'm edging towards a lie.
You're saying it's a lie?
Yeah.
OK. Jimmy Carr.
Well, I can tell you, it is a lie.
It's a lie. Prince Philip didn't tell Jimmy he was a funny-looking fellow at Wimbledon. What a moment. Perhaps the funniest man in Britain, known for his off-colour material, finally getting to meet Jimmy Carr.
It says possession.
Now, first of all, read out the card, and then when you've done that, take the object and pop it on the desk.
I once bought a chest of drawers for my bedroom online. I realised I'd made a terrible mistake when this arrived.
David's team.
Is it a doll's house one, is it?
All the evidence is there, Mary. No, that's full size.
Yeah.
She's massive.
Sarah, on those things, when you buy online, they do have measurements. Did you not think to look at that?
I knew that with things like clothes and shoes. I didn't know some charlatans were making furniture this small.
So you think they were charlatans? They weren't just sincerely making doll's house furniture. They were trying to pass off doll's house furniture as full-size furniture online.
That's what I think they're doing.
You weren't surprised by the comparatively inexpensive postage and packing?
No.
If out, put through letterbox.
Honestly, if you saw a picture of this just close...
It's massive!
How much was it, Sarah?
Yeah. £35.
So did you just think you were getting like a full-on bargain?
Very cheap.
Yeah, but that's gone from a relative bargain to a lot to pay for that.
I was disappointed.
Do the drawers actually open and shut? Is it functional?
The thing is, Rob, in a way, it's just like a normal chest of drawers.
It really is, isn't it?
Oh. Like, you can put stuff in there, it's just not big enough for my trousers and my...
Sarah, do you normally buy online your furniture?
I've got this habit at the moment, Mary. I like to buy things when I'm drunk, and then it's a surprise.
Why did you not send it back?
Yes, because you can on these things, you can contact the seller, can't you? And you can
Do you know,
rate them or complain.
Can I be truly honest with you?
Please do.
Honestly,
How are you going to be?
Again, I love this. And I was too embarrassed to say that I hadn't checked the measurements.
Where do you keep it now?
I keep it in my kitchen.
Why?
Well, I like to put money in there.
How much? How much money can you get in there?
£1 in there.
Yeah.
£2 in there.
Yeah.
A rolled up £5.
Yeah.
And then a 20 if I've had to get a cab a long way. It's good. It's good for spares. It's good for if you're tipping someone who's delivered you something.
A
like
£1, 2 or 5.
Yeah.
Depending.
What if you want to do 3? That would kill me. That.
You just add the 1 to the 2.
£1 and a 2.
What do you think? Mary, what are you thinking?
It's a sweet story, Sarah, but I cannot believe you buy when you're drunk. So I think it's a lie, Sarah.
Ryland?
I disagree a little bit with Mary because I am
a drunk buyer. I do like it late at night going, oh, I love something like that. But not a chest of drawers.
So what are you going to say, David, as captain of your team?
You think it's a lie?
I think it's a lie.
Well, we're going to say lie.
It's got to be a lie, then. OK, Sarah.
Yep.
Truth or lie?
OK, I'm very relieved to tell you that it is true.
Yes, it's true. Sarah did buy a tiny chest of drawers by mistake.
I once failed an acting exam after my plan to impress the teacher backfired.
Right, Lee's team.
Okay.
Right, what age was this?
18.
So you're doing your A-level for drama?
Theatre studies.
Theatre studies. And what was your plan?
The plan was I needed to cry during a monologue, and I was doing a Dublin accent.
Oh, give us a little blast. Oh, no, because your parents are Irish.
They're not from Dublin.
I've met her family. I met her sister. I introduced her to my wife, Tara, and I said, this is Tara.
Who's very beautiful. Ridiculously beautiful.
Yes, it doesn't seem right, does it?
I'll tell you how unright it seems. She went, oh, did you meet after he was, like, sort of a well-known comedian? And she went, no, before, which is true. We met before I ever did comedy. And she went, oh, did he save your life or something? That was unbelievable! I didn't know in 5 minutes. OK, so this was a sad monologue.
Sad monologue, and a woman, she's leaving a pram at the airport, and I needed to cry, and I needed the grade for my uni application. I needed to pass theatre studies. My plan was to use an onion to make myself cry so that I really, you know, like Oscar bait, get the exam.
Well,
really...
well, you weren't intended to do the monologue and then start cutting.
No, I had onion in my pocket with, like, an entry area so I could stick my hands in. So I touched my eyes.
Without him seeing that you'd put your hand... just sort of...
I was doing my acting. I was like, all of a sudden, life's a mad circus, and I was just touching my eyes.
That was good accent.
That was the accent, was it?
That was the accent,
Very good.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
And so I do that, and then I touch my eyes, and then I thought, oh, actually, it's quite a bit longer to go on this bit. And obviously... So I'm not meant to be at the tears bit yet, and then obviously my eye starts going, and I'm just... like, trying to keep it together because I'm not meant to be crying yet. And then I have to get the pram to bring it off the stage. But I can't see. And I finished the monologue like that. And I have to just walk off.
Did he find out, the teacher?
Oh, yeah, she came up to me straight up and she went, onion?
What are you thinking then, Maya?
I don't know, I think dedication to the cause, but onions are that shape, aren't they? So you'd see a little bulge in whatever jacket and stuff that you had on.
I don't think she would do it. I think someone might have done it, but I don't think
You don't think it's true? OK, well, I'm going to say, then, it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. Right, Roisin, truth or lie?
It is... true.
Yes, it's true. Roisin really did use an onion to make herself cry. Joe Wilkinson, you're next.
That's good. I once gave a lift to the Guildford Four.
Well, Joe is sporting a very sort of open prison look tonight.
I once shared a tent in Kent with Susie Dent.
Lee's team.
Where did you first get to know Susie?
On Countdown.
Which is true. She's on Countdown.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of TV shows around, aren't there, where people off the telly go and camp somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's not out of the question.
I know for a fact he's been very smiley and filey with Rachel Riley.
Well, was it just you and Susie?
In the tent, yeah.
Why did this come about?
Well, it was for a television... Well, for a pilot that never...
a TV show?
Yeah, that never made it.
What was the show called?
Tents in Kent.
Quick, is Camber Sands in Kent?
No, it's in Sussex.
Oh. Well, they got it wrong then.
What was going to be the interesting, appealing television that was going to come out of it?
I was going to get paid £7,000.
Yeah, but crucially, that's not enough to make someone tune into a TV programme, amazingly.
No, I wasn't really worried about that, but...
What was the show called?
We had to do this task. I remember we had 24 hours in it.
No.
And we had to complete a task in 24 hours.
What was the task?
It was like a political campaign that we had to run in 24 hours. I was running for mayor of Whitstable.
Did you have to represent a party?
Yes.
What was the party?
God, a lot of questions, aren't there?
That will happen.
And it's quite draining, isn't it?
But also, can I just point out that Whitstable is North Kent and Camber Sands is about 40 miles away in Sussex.
No, it's exactly 40 minutes in a car.
Going at 60 miles an hour.
The reason...
Hang on. I didn't stop.
We
Just stop.
I will not stop.
A recap before we carry on. So you're doing a political campaign in 24 hours to become mayor of Whitstable, but you stayed in Camber, which is a completely different county, and for no reason so far that you've explained, you stay in a tent. What's that got to do with running a campaign for mayor?
I guess they couldn't find a yurt near Whitstable. And I don't blame them for that. I don't know why I'm getting cross, sorry.
But what does it say about your campaigning skills that you ended up in a tent with Susie Dent?
Things went well.
Why did it never get made into TV?
Because they watched it back.
What do we think? Joe, what are you thinking?
Oh, I really want to believe it, but I just don't.
Oh,
I could have believed you're in a tent with Susie in Kent, but I think the whole political campaign thing's just... It's a distraction.
OK. All right. What's it going to be?
We're going to say it's a lie, are we?
It's a lie, it's a lie.
I think so,
We think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie. Joe, were you telling a lie or were you actually telling the truth?
It was a lie.
I believe you.
As a schoolgirl, I got a free can of Coke every day from my newsagent in exchange for keeping quiet about his affair.
Lee's tea.
How old are you?
I was 12.
And this happened for how long?
Maybe for about a year or so.
How did you know about the affair?
Because I walked in on them.
What were they doing?
Something that they shouldn't be doing.
Bit of a pick and mix?
Well, he was picking and she was mixing.
What did you see them do? They were getting amorous, were they?
Gosh. Right, so went in and the door, because it was a post office as well, was open. And because we know him, I peeped round and somebody was on their knees.
Oh, God. Have they dropped a contact lens? Or they were simply praying for forgiveness?
Yeah.
That's not how you lick a stamp.
He went, oh, they all kind of, like, made noise, and I kind of... I was just checking if you was all right, so I was just checking if you was all right.
What did he say?
And he was like...
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Did you know who she was?
Yes.
She was a member of the local community?
She definitely was part of the community.
Was she married?
Yes.
So they were both married?
Yeah.
Not to each other?
No.
At what point did you have the actual deal where you said, I need to be paid with cola?
Right, so I didn't go in for a couple of days.
Right.
But back in those days, they had... Do you remember the jelly sweets that was a watch?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I loved those sweets, and that was the only one that ever did it. So after 2 days, I was like, you know what? I'm going back in there. And then he was like, oh, no, take some more. You can have some more. And I was like, you never give anything free. So I said, can I have a cola as well? And he was like, OK. And I was like, OK.
So
and
at no stage did he say to you, don't tell anyone? It was all just done with looks and stuff?
I went back again. He gave me more sweets. I said, can I get a cola? And once I realised he was going to give it to me every time I went in...
You realised you were on for it. So in a way, by you talking about this on national television, you've reneged on the deal.
Well, I haven't said their name, and I haven't said where I lived at the time.
Where did you live at the time?
How long did the fizzy drink deal go on for?
Oh, that went on for time until... I'd definitely say at least...
Last week.
Still get them delivered to my house now.
What do you think, Tim? I don't mean in general, I mean about this.
Yes. I think it's true because your description of the sort of looks backwards and forwards and it just It rings true to me.
I'll go with whatever you think. I'm not sure.
Are you 51% even towards one or the other?
Oh, I see what you mean.
You'd have to be sure,
Is that
but...
part of the game, or do you just not want to decide?
I don't like deciding.
OK.
Because I like someone to blame.
OK.
There's no right and wrong answers.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are.
I'm going to say true.
True.
OK.
We'll say true.
They're saying true. Judy, it was a while ago. It was shocking.
Very.
But was it true?
It definitely was a lie.
I once upset a lot of people after I was hired to film a wedding. Something I'd entirely forgotten.
David, Steve.
Who hired you to film their wedding?
A very good friend of mine who saw something in me. He was called Dr. King.
All right.
And he had an act. He was a comedian. It was his stage name.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he had little toy rabbits, little furry rabbits on the end of string, about 10 of them. And he would tell a joke. I bought my granddad a snowboard for Christmas. He's been going downhill ever since. And then swing the rabbits.
Right.
Someone married this man.
Did I say he was married?
Well, you
did say it was his wedding.
You asked me who asked me to film a wedding.
OK, I think I asked you who asked you to film their wedding.
Well, in that case, I apologise. I've behaved very badly.
OK, Dr. King commissioned you to film someone else's wedding?
Yes.
OK.
I found myself living with him.
What?
And he was a professional gambler. He made his living betting on the horses.
Right.
He would only make a few bets a year. It could be as little as 5. He also did videos of weddings.
And you lived with him?
I lived with him, yeah. He drank 5 pints of milk a day.
Wow, that's a lot of milk.
Isn't it a lot of milk?
Wow.
I'll tell you what's interesting. Nothing to do with the story. His girlfriend was one of the Teletubbies.
Which one?
The green one.
And you said he would only make about 5 bets a year. How do you make enough money from that?
Big bets.
Is that his girlfriend's name?
There you go. So, obviously, that's true.
So, he ran a business videoing weddings and similar events.
Yes, and one Saturday, I was asked to go along and be one of the 2 cameras. So I went to this wedding, and he said, go down the front and get the bride coming in.
You mean filmer?
Filmer, yeah.
All right. Kidnapper.
And you said this angered a lot of people.
No, that didn't anger anyone. What you do is, in those days, is you didn't edit videos, you just gave them all the footage. I go home back to the flat to transfer the little cassettes that are in the VCR onto a VHS.
Onto a VHS. So what happens then?
I did what I was meant to do.
Yes.
Handed it over to the family. The next morning, there was a knock on the door, like the police.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. And it was the father of the bride.
Oh, no, what had you done? What was the footage?
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Because the VHS that I gave to the family was a recording of a horse race. So when they turned it on to show the family, it went, and they're off!
Because you had recorded the wrong thing?
I know I'd taken the wrong VHS, which was one of This ties in! Because it was one of Kingley's bets. Horse racing.
But you've transferred it from the small cassette that goes in the camera to a VHS.
Yes.
And then just picked up a different VHS.
I mean, it's a long time ago. My memory's fleeting, a bit like a mouse's tear on a hot griddle.
Did you still have the right VHS in the flat? Because that could have resolved matters quite quickly.
Absolutely did. But he did say to us, you've behaved very badly and you should be ashamed of yourselves.
The thing is, the story is absolute nonsense. Like, it's ridiculous.
No, actually, when you get into it...
That's what I'm
saying. The milk and rabbits aside, it's just Bob took the wrong VHS.
Yes!
As you imagine I once mixed up 2 VHSs, we'd think that was plausible, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Let's move on.
So do you think Bob's been telling you the truth?
I don't want to talk on that subject. You happy to go true?
Yeah.
Me gut's saying lie, but... You think lie, you think true.
Yeah.
We're going to say true. We're going to say true, and then I've just got some things to do. So that's fine. You can let me know at some point.
You're 100% on this?
Just, I've said what I've said.
Oh. That's your decision. You're saying it's true.
I'm just trying to... You know, there's a bigger picture. It's a troubled world out there. I think I'm going to address that.
And we'll live with the consequences.
Absolutely.
OK, they say it's true. Bob, was it true or was it a lie?
I was telling the truth.
As a baby, I was regularly fed coffee in my bottle.
Lee Mack's team, what do you make of that?
From birth?
I thought you were going to say from your mother's breast. You were given coffee in the milk.
Milky coffee from about the age of 3.
This is not hot coffee, obviously.
Yeah, no, it would have been
quite warm.
Warm, milky coffee.
And when you got older, did you ever say to your parents, "Why did this happen?"
Yeah.
My children like coffee. Nowadays, you can have what they call a kiddie-chino. A baby chino,
baby
sorry.
chino.
Baby chino. I got it wrong. Kiddie chino.
Actually, a kiddie chino is just a very small pair of trousers. You probably do use them.
If they were putting coffee in your milk...
No, they weren't putting coffee in my milk. I was having coffee. Slightly milky coffee.
Okay.
Well, that is the same as putting coffee in milk.
That's the very
definition of milky coffee.
Between putting coffee in milk and putting milk in coffee.
What is the distinction?
Well, it's like the distinction between having a glass of water and going swimming. In the one case, you're putting water in yourself, and in the other case, you're putting yourself in water.
Did they give you other sort of more adult foodstuffs at a very young age?
I think I was allowed a modicum of booze as a child.
Oh, were you? At what age were you allowed booze?
Like as a baby.
That was to offset the coffee buzz.
Yeah.
Lee, what were you given as a child?
Evo stick.
That's glue.
Yeah, but that was to stop me getting out the cop.
David, as a small child, what were they bringing you in your quarters?
Just a port and a cigar.
You took the words out of my self-parodic mouth. No, the blood of a pheasant.
Did you say pheasant or peasant?
Lee, what are you thinking? Is there any truth in this? Which way are you leaning?
I don't know. What do you think, guys?
I think we're skirting on the edge of giving out really bad childcare advice.
That is true, but I can't help thinking that any parent that's looking at Jimmy and thinking, I want to raise a child like that anyway, is a dodgy parent in the first place. You know what I mean?
I think it's nonsense.
I think it's nonsense.
Nonsense, OK.
I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
Well, we'll say it's a lie, then.
Pretty conclusively.
Yeah.
It's a lie. Jimmy Carr, were you telling us the truth then, or were you telling a lie?
I can tell you it is absolutely true.
Ah! Oh. Wow. Yes, it's true. As a baby, Jimmy was regularly fed coffee in his bottle. So, Rory, who is Jamie to you?
This is Jamie, and after a mix-up in a tattoo parlour, we now have each other's tattoo.
Daisy, how do you know Jamie?
This is my ex-boyfriend, Jamie, and I used to put sleeping pills in my parents' tea so I could sneak him into the house.
And finally, Lee, what is your relationship with Jamie?
This is Jamie. While staying at an Airbnb, I mistook him for an intruder and attacked him with a whisk.
So, there we have it. David's team, where would you like to begin?
Daisy, when did you go out with Jamie?
When I was about 14, 15.
Where did you get the sleeping pills?
My mother had them to get to sleep.
What was the drug?
It was just regular kind of night-old sleeping pills.
I don't know.
Over the counter?
Over the counter.
But they weren't prescription. They weren't like some hardcore thing from a doctor. So you were trying to get them just to nod off a little bit earlier than they would have done.
Yes.
What sort of time would you administer the dose?
So I would administer, especially when they're watching Inspector Morse. So I'd say, "Can I make you a cup of tea?" They'd say, "Yes, please," and I'd be in the kitchen putting them in the.
How many times did you do this? How often did you do this as a tactic?
I think for the duration of our relationship.
Which was?
About a year.
What was it about Jamie that was so unacceptable to your waking parents?
Because he was a very angry goth. And he didn't treat me very well.
See, I wasn't necessarily assuming that your parents didn't approve of the relationship, just that they didn't approve of you, the thought of you holding hands with him.
No.
Did you think you were coming on Jeremy Kyle?
So you've drugged your parents. What happens next?
Then they go to sleep.
What, in the chair?
No, they say...
And you say, "Come on in, you come, my lover, don't worry about them, they're out for the count."
They say, "Strangely, this episode of Inspector Morse doesn't seem as gripping as yours." Let's get an early night. Who cares who did it?
They get very tired watching the show. They poodle off up to bed. At this point, he's finished work at the Chinese restaurant, so I sneak him round the back gate.
And because he's a goth, he's very well camouflaged in the dark.
Then Mum goes to bed, and we just listen to Iron Maiden very quietly and write goth poetry together.
I've never heard that euphemism.
No,
OK, and this happened for about a year, and were your parents unaware of the relationship altogether?
No, because they woke up once. And...
You hadn't got the chloroform and the hanky.
So they woke up, and my mum walks into the room to find some black goth hair on my pillow and says, "Paul," which is my dad, "get down here now. Daisy's smuggled in Jamie. Kick him out of the house and say something responsible." So my dad said, "Get out my house, you pillock."
OK, now then, what about Rory?
OK, so Rory, what was going to be your tattoo, and what tattoo did you end up with?
I wanted a tattoo of a crescent moon, quite classy.
Yeah.
Instead, easy. Instead, I got a picture of Popeye's face.
And where?
Just there on my left shoulder blade.
Have you still got it?
Yes.
And how did the mix-up occur?
We were on holiday in Thailand together. Bit of a lads booze up. One thing led to another. We all got a bit merry, shall we say. And I don't think it was Jamie's idea. I think it's probably Sam, my other friend, who said, "Let's all get tattoos."
Yeah, that sounds like Sam. That's a kind of...
It's a very Sam thing to do.
Yeah.
When was this, Rory?
Late 2000s.
The late 2000s?
Sorry, early 2000s, my bad.
The early 2000s.
Well, the late 2000s would be nearly 1,000 years. A long time in the future.
So you're in Thailand.
Yeah.
Talk us through the tattoo parlour. Where was it situated?
Koh Phangan. So you fly in, you get to Bangkok, and then I think...
If you're lucky.
And then you travel to Koh Phangan, and there's this little parlour, and they're used to tourists coming in all the time, and they have multiple beds, if I remember correctly.
Not classy.
And not that kind of establishment. And then you choose out of a book what you want.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go...
I know what a book is.
I'll have the number 4, Jamie wanted the number 5, or whatever
With rice,
it was.
or...?
Not that kind of establishment.
Okay.
And then they
So it is neither a restaurant nor a brothel. The kind of establishment it is a tattoo parlour with beds and a low standard of administrative competence.
You'd have gone out of the storm on this stag weekend, David.
Well,
Rory, how long was it before you realised the mistake?
Immediately. Yeah, you stand up, there's a mirror there, you go like that. And there wasn't a picture of a classy crescent moon, there was a picture of Popeye's face with the pipe and everything.
Who was more upset by this outcome, you or Jamie?
Me, by far.
Right.
Absolutely. He's now got a classy crescent moon on his back. I've got Popeye. Are you not following this?
OK, now then, what about Lee? Remind us, Lee, of your claim.
So this is Jamie, and while staying in an Airbnb, I mistook him for an intruder, and I attacked him with a whisk.
OK. And where was the Airbnb?
The Airbnb was in Rye.
And why were you staying in an Airbnb in Rye?
Because I like to get away from my family, full stop. No, I like to go away and write and just get some peace and quiet, so I go away for 2 or 3 days, occasionally, very occasionally.
Why did you
Get married in the first place? I don't know. I've asked myself every day the same question.
Why did you choose a whisk over a knife?
Well, as you may know, that a lot of people that are attacked in their home are often attacked with their own weapons, because what they do is they take a weapon, like a hammer, and they go, get out of my house, and then the burglar panics, and then he grabs the hammer, and a fight ensues, and then the person ends up getting injured. So when I opened the drawer, I had to make a selection. And I couldn't go knife for the reasons I've just explained. I looked at big rolling pin. I could get attacked with that. But you can't go the other way either. You can't pick up the Mr. Men jelly mould. And I had to find out what was the perfect middle ground between... It looks aggressive and offensive, but I think it'll be all right if he tries to hit me with it. What's the most he's going to do? Mess my hair up?
And you wouldn't want a knife, you wouldn't want to kill him. You'd have a whisk, you could just beat him.
You beat with a fork, you whisk with a whisk.
The applause begs to differ. Let's set the scene. Paint a more vivid picture for us.
It was daytime.
It was daytime?
Yeah. I mistook him for an intruder because I subsequently found out that on the email that was sent by the person who owned the house, they said, oh, by the way, someone's coming, whatever it was, Saturday afternoon, to have a look at the wood-burning stove. I hope that's OK. There'll only be 20 minutes or whatever. So I was asleep, and it was about midday, something like that, and I hear a noise downstairs. And then he starts playing around with the wood-burning stove.
Oh, no.
And I get worried. I think someone's down there.
Because the noise is sort of...
sorry, well, you are Welsh. Are you asking me the time? And so I go downstairs, and I see this figure. I panic. And I was going to say, get out, or else. I don't know what I was thinking. I just ran at him.
I'll whip you to a soft peak.
Oh, I definitely didn't say that to him. No, never say that to a strange man in your house, David. And I whacked him on the back really hard, just kept whacking him and whacking him.
You hadn't previously challenged him or asked him why he was there. You just went straight in and battered him with a hand whisk.
I just panicked and I was
just straight in, went to the kitchen, got the hand, batter.
No, there's no batter involved.
Well, we need an answer. So David's team, is Jamie Rory's branded buddy, Daisy's smuggled sweetheart, or Lee's innocent intruder?
What do you think, Diane?
Well, I'm not sure about night owl. I don't think it's that strong. So I think Daisy's lying.
Yeah.
How old do you have to be to know about Popeye?
Oh, that's
it.
I think... Why would he pick... Yeah.
It doesn't ring true.
OK. You know that if it's not Daisy and not Rory, that means it's Lee.
That's right. Can't be Lee.
So, what's it going to be, David?
I think it's Daisy.
You think it's Daisy?
I could be persuaded that it's Daisy.
We'll go with Daisy.
You're going to say Daisy? Yeah. Jamie, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Jamie, and I used to sneak into Daisy's house.
Well done, guys.
Yes, Jamie is Daisy's smuggled sweetheart. Of course, this is not something you should ever do, putting sleeping pills in someone's tea. And thank you very much, Jamie.